sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and can even keep you from getting the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS.
So I want to move right into the second in a series called Me versus Me. Right? I'm the only person I can compete with. I'm the only person who can fix what's wrong with me. And it's a constant battle of me versus me. Who's the me that's going to show up when they need to show up? Is it the wimpy, scared, worried, high need for approval me? Or is it the professional who has to put all my emotions aside when I go into a sales call? And what I hope it is going to be is that best version of me that doesn't care, has no dog in the fight. One of the biggest weaknesses that a salesperson has, including me, is emotional involvement in a sale. Now, emotion is involved in every single sale. People buy emotionally, and then they justify it intellectually. Right? They'll buy something because they want it, or it's moving them up in status, or it's saving them time, right? But there are emotional reasons why people make decisions. I mean, think about the car you drive. A lot of us, maybe some people are just like, oh, this is completely whatever, right? This is just a place to get from A to B. But most of us have some image wrapped up in it. There's an emotional reason we bought the color car that we bought, or the type, or the year, whatever. Because if we were all perfectly rational, we'd probably all drive, 10-year-old Honda Accords. And most of us don't drive those. So emotion has a very high place in sales. It just is not supposed to be inside the salesperson. I want you to picture yourself back when you were dating. Maybe you are now, maybe not. But if you remember back in the day, maybe when you cared more about somebody else than they cared about you, right? And you're the one that's kind of needy, and you're kind of begging, and you're running from behind to try and catch up. You know how unattractive, as you look back at yourself during that time, how kind of embarrassed you are about that, right? And maybe you were on the other side of that sometime where somebody was needy and beggy and chasing you down and it really wasn't working out. Remember how unattractive that was? Same thing happens in sales, right? It's the same damn game. There is a lot of, pardon the expression, it's not perfect, romance. The thing is, your prospect needs to be romancing you. You're like, well, how the hell does that happen? Well, here's how it happens. In our conversations with people, right, as we're gathering information, we're gathering that person's opinions about their current situation. And if they admit or share any problems, then we've got to dig in and figure out, are those problems pain? Now, pain is an overused word in sales and in sales training. In my world, pain is an emotional, compelling reason why somebody ought to, needs to, wants to make a change, right? It's personal, compelling reason. It is emotional. Now, there are three levels. A problem is different than pain. Problem is a problem. It's something that's not great, right? I don't know about you. I've got a million problems, but only enough bandwidth, money, time, effort, give a damn to solve one or two or three at a given time, right? Can't solve them all. Don't want to. Same is true with people you're calling on, right? They got a million problems. And maybe they got a problem in your area, but if it's not a priority for them, they're not going to fix it. They're just not. Got to give up. Don't do that. Come back another time. If we're emotionally involved, we want the sale worse than they do, right? We're the ones that are needy. We are pushy. We don't want to hear the word no, right? Our feelings get hurt if it comes to a no. How could they possibly? We make it about us, right? When you go into a sales call, you can't care whether you live or die. Now, don't take me too literally. Don't get killed in a sales call, literally. But my point is, I want you to think about this. I want us to begin to redefine victory. I want us to define victory as getting a yes or a no. It's not making the sale. Making a sale's good, but so is getting a no in your first meeting or your second meeting or any time before, whatever, sooner rather than later. But if we get emotionally involved when, our pipeline's dry, we got nothing else. And all of a sudden, if this one goes away, shit, we're dead. It's ruined our quarter, our day, our week, our month, our year. We're going to lose objectivity. We're going to stop listening, right? Stop listening to the red flags that are right in front of us. We're going to have our happy ears on. We're only going to hear what we want to hear. Your prospect will be in complete control at that point. And you'll be dancing for pennies and probably no pennies at that point. Not only will you probably not get the deal, if you do, you'll have to give up a whole bunch of stuff, right? And you will have lost a lot of your dignity. I want you to picture before you go into a sales call that it's a setup, that Walker McKay, that son of a bitch, sets you up. This whole thing is a test to see how much you can keep your emotions out. Now, don't get me wrong, you're not a robot. You are going to need to interact with your prospect, but you can't care more about it than they do. And as soon as somebody's saying, we really are okay, not sure we have to work on that, that's not really our top priority, or, yeah, you can send us information if you want to, you need to say, sounds to me like you're okay. At this point, I don't want to waste your time, right? I don't want to clog up your mailbox with something you're probably not going to read. The time you should call me is when you're struggling with this, upset about that, disappointed in this. And get up and walk out the damn door. Not in a rude way, in a kind way, in a way that you're respecting them for what it is. Now, if you want to play the game, not really play the game, if you want to take it to the next level, and you say, look, sounds like you're fine. I'm going to close your file. No big deal. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. And get up to leave. And when you get to the door, turn around and say, can I ask you something before I go? And they'll say, sure. And think of a question. Are you being straight with me? Might be a question. Or maybe the question is, you shared you had problems with A, B, and C, and yet you said there weren't things that you cared about right now. You being real with me? How can you be the most direct, kind person? When I say kind is strength. Kind is not wasting people's time. Kind is telling people the truth. None of this brutal honesty shit. Don't go there. Don't beat people up. Right? But kind is not wasting somebody's time, not wasting their time. Remember, you are to abandon the use of the words my time forever. I want you to say your time whenever you're thinking my time. But get up and walk out. Because if you're begging, if you're pushing, if you're asking, can I please send you information? People sense that. They won't respect you. And you know how hard it is to get back in the door if you've been begging somebody for the last 3 times you were there? You'll be shut out. It's not where you want to be. I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. You want to up your game? You want to be a little more emotionally detached from sales? Call me. I'll show you how to do that. 803-917-2817 or email me, walker@walkermckay.com.
Thanks for listening to No BS Sales School podcast. If you haven't already, please take 1 minute to write a quick review for the show. It really does make a huge difference. Also, subscribe to the show and please forward this episode to somebody else who needs to hear it. As a bonus for listening, I'm going to give you access to a free mini course, 7 expensive sales mistakes you're making and what you can do about it. Go to www.7salesmistakes.com and get access to the free mini course. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.